Namaskaram. We are continuing with the Tirthayatra of the Pandavas. Last we had reached the Mahendra mountain where they met sage Parashurama. Now before proceeding, I would like to put before you some of my difficulties, especially on aspects like this Tirthayatra Parvam, pilgrimage, where they go from place to place. The names of the place, the name of the places they go through, those names are ancient, and it is a task for me to find out where exactly they lie, what is the modern name. Mahabharata simply gives a name, and the books I refer, the Puranic encyclopedia also doesn't give the modern names. So is the case with Atlas. But there are a couple of books which help me. One is a Sanskrit to English dictionary by one Professor Apte. That has at the very end one very small section. It's only 2-3 pages where the ancient names along with their modern geographical location are given, and modern names. And there is a history of India published by Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, which has got the initial 2 volumes. The first is called the Vedic Age, and the following one is called the Epic Age, I think it is. That is the Puranic Age. And those two have reference to the old name and give the corresponding modern name or the geographical location, which is slightly more helpful. But even then it is not complete. I am not able to locate quite a few of them. So that's a difficulty I have. I place this difficulty before you so that any one of you who take interest could look for other sources to do this matching, which will be helpful at least for the future generation. This Mahendra mountain, one of these volumes say, is basically the Eastern Ghats and lies between the rivers Mahanadi and Godavari. Mahanadi to the north and Godavari for the south. That gives us a crude idea of the location, rough idea. And the Pandavas started from there and went to Prabhasa Tirtham. We will come to that. This surprises me here, as well as when Arjuna goes through the pilgrimage, he also takes the same route. I wonder why. Because one is on the eastern side, another is on the western side. And Arjuna does it more than once. So it's a surprise to me. Anyway, that is what Bharata says. And this Prabhasa Tirtham, on the map of India, on the western side, there is Gulf of Kutch. Below that, there is a nose-shaped or ear-shaped part of the land, and there you will see Jamnagar, Rajkot, Junagadh, Bhavanagar. These are all on the between the Gulf of Kutch and below that the Gulf of Khambat, between these two. And Dwaraka is down there above the Gulf of Khambat. You will locate Dwaraka on a map of India. And Prabhasa Tirtham, Dwaraka is an island. Prabhasa Tirtham on the land, on the eastern side. That is where the land is. And they reached Prabhasa Tirtham, and the Yadavas, Krishna, his brother Balarama, and a large army, they came, hearing that the Pandavas have arrived, they came there to meet the Pandavas. And it was Balarama who first raised the topic of the Pandavas undeservingly had to leave their kingdom and wander through the forests, walking all the way, eating sparse food found in forests, some roots or fruits, some vegetables, and lying on the land and being filthy. Even after taking bath, there is a limit to getting clean clothes. So they were wearing unclean clothes. And looking at them, all of them, especially Draupadi, Balarama got very wild. He said, this is very unfair. None of them deserve this treatment. They are fit to be living in a palace, wearing clothes which are suitable for a king or emperor. And Krishna agreed. Satyaki, who is a very important character, he's a Yadava prince in Mahabharata, especially during the war. Satyaki plays a very important role. Satyaki was equally angry with the situation. He said, there is no point in lamenting about it. It is time for action. Let us go and invite the Kauravas for a war, open war, and let us fight it out. But Yudhishthira said, no, I will not be part of it, because I have promised. It was a stake. The kingdom was my stake when I played dice, and I lost, whether it was fair game or unfair. So I will not change my position. That will be adharma as far as I am concerned. So nothing could be done, even if the whole Yadavas came for their aid. So they left it at that. So the Pandavas, the Yadavas went back to Dwaraka, and the Pandavas continued with their pilgrimage. They were taken by sage Lomasha next to river Narmada, which is on the left side, on the western side, flowing to the Indian Ocean. And there he showed a point, saying that this is a very sacred place. Look at that mount called Vaidurya. And Narmada, by the side of that Vaidurya mountain, is very sacred, very holy. There are many holy pools where famous events have taken place. So it is important that you take bath in these. And then he mentioned it is uh, it is on this pond, on this pool, that the Indra was stunned to inaction. Though he is the king of gods, he couldn't move. He was just stuck without any movement. And the Yudhishthira naturally asked, why, what happened? How could that happen? Then Lomasha said, that is the story of Sukanya. Sukanya was the daughter of King Sharyati, and at this spot, a son of Bhrigu, by name Chavana, started meditating. He meditated so intensely that he lost all sense of time and direction. He just stood there like a rock, without any movement. And he stood like that for years. And slowly and mounds, termite mounds developed around him. It is whether it is true or not, in Puranas there are stories like this. Valmiki, for example, the name Valmiki came from Valmikam, which is a termite mound. And termite mound engulfed Sage Chavana fully, only leaving his eyes, which are open sometimes. So through that, the sage looked out, and then he closed his eyes and would continue. Incidentally, this Sharyari, Sukanya's father, was the son of Vaivasvata Manu, one of the eighth Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. And it so happened that this king Sharyati came with his army of wives, 4,000 of them, it is said. He came with all the wives and his daughter by name Sukanya. They came to take bath at that place because it is considered to be very holy. And Sukanya was a very young woman, a child who was about to be a grown-up. So with childhood, with the what is called inquisitiveness of a child, she was looking around and she saw this mount and she was curious, and then suddenly she saw something like two flashes of light coming from inside. She didn't realize it. They were eyes. It looked like some two flashlights. So with her curiosity, she took a blade of grass and stuck at those. And it was so sharp that when she hit the eyes of the sage, they were broken and he became totally blind. And because of this, actually, but nobody realized at that time that the whole army, they became infected with a curse that none of them could pass urine. They wanted to ease themselves, but they couldn't. There was something which was blocking, and they all became uncomfortable, then very painful, And the king was concerned. He said, "Why, what happened?" Then when he inquired, some people said, "Oh, there is a sage here on that mount, inside the mount, who has been meditating for a long time." Then he said, "Did anyone harm the sage, cause any harm?" Nobody was aware of anything. Then Sukanya confessed, "Look, father, I did this. I just pierced through the 2 holes without knowing what they were. I was curious. So I might have harmed to the sage." And the king was very sorry. He removed the termite mounds, and he saw the sage standing there in meditative pose, and the king prostrated before him and prayed for forgiveness. Our time has short past, so I have to stop. I'm sorry. Namaskaram.